Welcome to Trending Unpacked, the show that dives into what the world's been searching for and why it matters. Today we're embarking on a deep dive into a phenomenon that's, well, it's as wonderfully curious as it sounds. Summerween. Imagine blending these sun-drenched, carefree vibes of peak summer with the mysterious, cozy, and maybe playfully spooky atmosphere of Halloween. It sounds like a paradox, doesn't it?
It really does.
But it's very real, and it seems to be captivating more and more people. You've sent us some truly fascinating sources about this unique cultural mashup, and our mission today is to really unpack its surprising origins, explore the ways people are celebrating it, look at what the data tells us about its growing appeal, and I suppose consider what this whole trend reveals about how our traditions are evolving, especially in this digital age. Let's dive right in.
It's a brilliant concept when you stop and think about it, isn't it? A delightful juxtaposition. The name itself, Summerween, it immediately brings up that paradox, just as you said. You've got the long, bright days, the warmth, the outdoor freedom of summer, crashing right into the crisp air feel, the costumes, the sort of nostalgic magic, and that playful spookiness that Halloween really embodies. The fact that these two very distinct seasonal energies are not just coexisting, but actively being celebrated together.
Well, it's a powerful testament to how fluid and adaptable modern traditions can actually be. It's something that, honestly, not too long ago would have just seemed completely out of place. Yet now it's finding its feet, sort of pushing the boundaries of what a holiday can even mean.
I couldn't agree more, and that brings us straight to the first and maybe the most intriguing question. Where on earth did Summerween even come from?
Right.
Because unlike, say, Christmas, or even the deep origins of Halloween itself, this isn't really rooted in ancient folklore or seasonal cycles, is it?
Not at all. When I first heard Halloween in July, my mind definitely didn't leap to, historical traditions. So what's the actual story here?
Right, and that's precisely where it gets fascinating. Unlike so many traditions that evolve, organically over centuries through farming cycles or religious observance, Summerween seems to have a surprisingly specific, almost traceable origin point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't born from ancient harvest rituals or pagan festivals, no. Instead, it appears to have been originally popularized, at least in the broader cultural consciousness, by a particular episode of Disney's Gravity Falls.
Gravity Falls, seriously. That's truly wild.
Mm.
I remember that show. It was fantastic, incredibly quirky animated series. So you're telling me an idea from a cartoon, something that aired back in 2012, has somehow jumped from being just a fictional concept into a tangible, real-world thing that people are actually doing.
Pretty much, yeah.
That just blows my mind. How does a piece of pop culture, an animated show no less, manage to seed and, well, propagate a new tradition so effectively, so quickly?
It's amazing, isn't it?
It feels like a leap from pure fiction straight into our lived reality. You wouldn't normally expect that on such a scale.
It absolutely does feel like that. And it really, really showcases the immense and I think often underestimated influence of modern media in contemporary culture. Think about it. A show like Gravity Falls, it cultivates this incredibly dedicated, highly engaged, and crucially, digitally native fan base.
Right. Very online.
Very online. So when a concept like Summerween gets introduced within that beloved story, where the characters themselves are celebrating it, where it has its own quirky rules and charm, it creates an instant shared experience. It provides a common language, a playful, imaginative idea that resonates really deeply.
Okay, so it's not just the idea, it's the connection to the show, the characters.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just some abstract concept. It's tied to characters and stories that people genuinely care about, characters they feel a connection with. And that kind of emotional resonance is incredibly powerful. The show basically provided the initial spark, right? A compelling narrative hook. And then the internet, with its, unprecedented ability to connect like-minded people across any geographical boundary, well, that provided the tinder and the wind to spread those flames far and wide.
Wow.
It's a powerful example of how quickly and effectively pop culture can propagate a new tradition. And this isn't just about passive watching, it's about active adoption and adaptation. Fans aren't just consuming, they're internalizing and then externalizing these concepts. They're making it their own.
Okay, so it starts as this fun, fictional thing in a show, gets traction with a dedicated, passionate audience, and then, almost organically, it spills over and becomes, well, a real trend. Our sources confirm this, noting that what began as a whimsical plot device has since become a real trend. It's clearly no longer just some obscure fan fiction idea or a niche inside joke tucked away in a small corner of the internet.
Precisely. And the spread isn't just limited to the show's immediate fan base anymore either. While it certainly started there, we're now seeing it gain significant traction, particularly in places like the US, the UK, and Australia.
Interesting locations.
Yeah, and this points to a broader cultural appetite for this kind of seasonal blend, extending well beyond just those who originally watched that Gravity Falls episode. It's almost as if the seed was planted, and it just found incredibly fertile ground in cultures that already have a really deep, strong appreciation for Halloween, but are also maybe actively looking for new, innovative ways to engage with those familiar, comforting feelings all year round. It tapped into a pre-existing desire for that kind of playful escapism, I think. It's less about Gravity Falls itself now and more about the cultural phenomenon it sort of inadvertently birthed.
That makes perfect sense. It started niche, but it found this wider resonance where people genuinely love their spooky season and also, embrace creative expression. Okay, so we've unpacked its really intriguing origin story, established it's undeniably a real cultural phenomenon. Now, for the fun part, how are people actually celebrating it? What does Summerween actually look like on the ground? Or maybe more accurately, online and in our backyards?
This is where the creativity really comes out to play. And Summerween isn't a one-size-fits-all thing. It's very much a fluid sort of choose-your-own-adventure vibe, which definitely contributes to its broad appeal, I think.
Right.
At its core, it's marked by these DIY parties that blend seasonal aesthetics in incredibly unique and, yeah, often delightfully contradictory ways.
Spooky meets tropical themes. I love that phrase. It sounds simultaneously delightful, maybe slightly unhinged, and absolutely perfect for Instagram or TikTok. I'm picturing like a skeleton wearing a lei or a pumpkin carved with sunglasses just chilling by the pool.
You've absolutely nailed the visual. That image of the skeleton with a lei is spot on for the spirit of it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So what specific activities, what kind of decor are people actually doing to bring this fusion to life? How do these seemingly opposite aesthetics and activities genuinely merge to create a distinct Summerwin experience that isn't just, a chaotic mess?
That's a fair question.
Yeah.
And they really lean into that quirky fusion, creating something that feels, well, coherent and fun. We're talking about things like spooky cocktails and BBQs.
Okay.
Which could mean anything from, say, black lemonade or glowing green drinks garnished with gummy worms, maybe hot dogs served in little miniature coffin-shaped buns, or even charcoal blackened burger buns for that spooky effect. The barbecue isn't just a regular cookout. It's infused with these subtle, playful Halloween elements. Horror movie nights are another staple. But instead of being held indoors on a chilly October evening, right, they're often moved outdoors, maybe projected onto a sheet under the summer stars, perhaps with a mosquito coil burning nearby and some string lights twinkling.
Well, I like that vibe.
Or maybe the film choices themselves lean into summery, slasher at the lake type stuff, classic camp horror films. Friday the 13th, perhaps.
Perfect.
And then for decor, our sources specifically mention pool floats shaped like jack-o'-lanterns.
Yes. I need one of those.
Right. Imagine lounging around on a giant inflatable pumpkin in the middle of July. Or seeing inflatable ghosts, maybe draped over palm trees instead of oaks. It's all about taking the core elements of Halloween, the fun, the slightly eerie, the thematic play, the sense of imaginative escapism, and just playfully recontextualizing them for summer. It's less about genuine fear, obviously, and more about celebrating the aesthetics, the fun, and the shared communal joy. And the merging works, I think, because the underlying spirit of fun, festivity, and creative expression from both seasons is surprisingly compatible. You're essentially bringing that lighthearted macabre into the bright, relaxed, expansive atmosphere of summer. It's a deliberate subversion of expectation that creates novelty and amusement.
I can absolutely see the appeal of a pool party with a ghostly twist, or, a barbecue that feels like a haunted picnic. It sounds like a fantastic way to inject some novelty and playful weirdness into the, let's face it, sometimes predictable summer routine.
Exactly. Breaks up the monotony.
Yeah. So beyond the parties themselves, are there specific visual trends that have emerged from this? Because I imagine something as distinct as spooky meets tropical would lend itself incredibly well to highly shareable aesthetics, especially online.
That's a really crucial observation. And it raises that important question about the inherently visual nature of modern trends, doesn't it? And how social media platforms basically serve as their primary exhibition and propagation grounds. Summerween has absolutely spawned specific stylistic trends. ones which content creators and enthusiasts have meticulously crafted. Two prominent ones our sources highlight are pastel goth
Okay, pastel goth.
and sunshine horror.
Sunshine horror. Tell me more about those.
Okay, so think about pastel goth. It takes the traditionally darker elements of Gothic aesthetics,
Yeah.
skulls, bats, occult symbols, spider webs, but renders them in soft, often quite vibrant pastels, like lavender, mint green, baby blue, bubblegum pink.
Right, I've seen that look.
It's a deliberate subversion that feels both edgy and whimsical, right? A blend of cute and creepy. It sort of disarms the Gothic while adding this playful, almost ironic twist.
Okay. And sunshine horror. That sounds intriguing.
Sunshine horror is maybe a bit more subtle. It might be like a retro, grainy filter applied to a seemingly innocent summer photo kids playing on a lawn, a beach scene, but the filter gives it an unsettling, eerie vibe.
Ah, okay, like it's something slightly off.
Exactly. Or it could be slightly off-kilter shadow play captured at sunset, creating a sense of subtle unease in what should be a bright, cheerful setting. These aren't just random ideas floating around. They're becoming cohesive visual languages, almost entire aesthetic movements online.
And where are we seeing these visual languages most prominently displayed and developed? I mean, I'm guessing social media plays an absolutely enormous role here, as it does with so many contemporary trends.
Oh, you're spot on. Absolutely enormous is probably an understatement. These aesthetics are predominantly found, cultivated, and amplified on platforms like TikTok and Pinterest.
Makes sense.
These platforms are just tailor-made for visual trends. Pinterest, with its whole mood board creation and sharing capability, is perfect for planning a Summerween party, right?
Mhm.
Or curating a specific aesthetic, gathering inspiration for DIY projects. Users can literally pin ideas for spooky cocktails, pastel goth outfits, or those jack-o'-lantern pool floats, building entire visual narratives.
Right, the planning stage.
Exactly. And then TikTok, on the other hand, with its short-form, highly shareable video format, is ideal for showcasing the dynamic aspects of Summerween. Quick DIY tutorials, time-lapses of party setups, costume previews in motion, maybe short skits embodying that sunshine horror vibe.
Uh-huh.
And of course, the algorithms on these platforms do an incredible job of connecting people with similar interests. If you engage with one Summerween-related piece of content, the algorithm learns your preference and then actively recommends more of it.
Right, that feedback loop.
It creates a powerful feedback loop. It builds what we often call echo chambers, or maybe more positively, affinity spaces, where like-minded users see more and more of the same trend. And this just accelerates its adoption, its evolution, and its refinement within that specific community at lightning speed. It's this continuous, self-perpetuating cycle. Inspiration, creation, sharing, and then further inspiration.
It's incredible how social media doesn't just reflect trends anymore, but actively shapes them, propagates them, accelerates them. It's almost like a giant collaborative creative space for entire cultural movement.
Well, that's a great way to put it.
And it's not just about passive consumption, is it? You mentioned content creators. They seem to be really key players in sustaining this momentum and bringing these ideas to life for a wider audience.
Oh, they are absolutely central. The content creators, the influencers, the DIY gurus, the theme stylists, whatever you want to call them. The trendsetters, they're the activators, and they provide the ongoing fuel for this movement. Our sources mention content creators hosting 31 days of Summerween or early costume previews.
31 days of Summerween.
Wow.
Yeah. This isn't just about sharing a single photo or two. It's about sustained, proactive engagement that builds anticipation and loyalty within their following. A 31 Days of Summerween series, for example, could involve a creator posting a new, spooky, summer-themed idea, a unique recipe, a DIY decor project, a themed outfit every single day for the entire month of July.
That's commitment.
It really is, and this consistent output generates immense excitement and anticipation among their followers. It turns Summerween into this extended celebration, not just a one-off party. Similarly, sharing early costume previews for actual Halloween, but doing it in July during Summerween. Well, that cleverly extends the duration of the spooky season significantly.
Oh, good point.
It transforms Summerween into a kind of preseason training camp, maybe? Or a sneak peek for the main event in October. It keeps the Halloween spirit simmering and builds excitement way, way in advance. They're essentially curating the whole experience for their audience, keeping it top of mind. I see. So they're not just participating, they're actively curating, producing, distributing content that feeds the trend, builds anticipation, keeps the vibe alive and fresh, even months before October actually hits.
Exactly.
It's like a warm-up act for Halloween, making sure the spirit of the season never truly fades away, but just adapts to the time of year. And it sounds like retailers are certainly picking up on this increasing interest, aren't they? They wouldn't miss out.
Oh, they absolutely are, which is in itself a really significant indicator of Summerween's growing legitimacy and, frankly, its market viability. This commercial embrace highlights a major shift where traditional commercial entities are becoming incredibly quick, maybe quicker than ever,
Yeah.
to adapt to and capitalize on these emerging, often internet-driven cultural trends.
Yeah.
Our sources explicitly state that retailers are launching mid-year Halloween-themed sales and decor. So think about walking into a major department store, maybe in June or July. You're expecting to see patio furniture, swimwear, barbecue stuff. And then suddenly you come across a dedicated section featuring, I don't know, pumpkin-shaped cookie cutters, string lights shaped like little ghosts, those spooky-themed pool floats we mentioned.
Right next to the beach towels.
Exactly. Or even summer apparel adorned with subtle Halloween motifs, like a swimsuit with tiny bats on it, or sandals with little skull patterns. It's a clear signal that they've identified a market for this extended spooky season, and they're willing to invest inventory and floor space in it. They're not just reacting anymore. They're actively trying to shape and fulfill this new demand.
That's fascinating because it's such a powerful testament to the influence of these online trends. If enough people are showing interest, talking about it online, and crucially searching for it, businesses will inevitably respond. It indicates that Summerween isn't just a niche internet joke or some fleeting meme anymore. It's actually generating real economic activity and influencing consumer behavior.
Precisely. And sometimes these commercial efforts can even help push the trend further into the mainstream. Think about it. When a major retailer, like a large chain store everyone knows, starts selling Summerween decor or themed products, it kind of legitimizes the concept for a much wider audience. People who might not be super active on TikTok or Pinterest or who weren't part of those initial fan community.
Right, it makes it real in a different way.
Exactly. It moves from being just an internet thing to something tangible you can physically see, touch, interact with, something you can buy off the shelf. And this, in turn, fuels more online sharing. Look what I found. More discussion, maybe even encourages more mainstream media coverage.
Yeah.
It's a perfect feedback loop, really, between digital culture, consumer demand, and the retail market. They're not just selling products, they're selling the idea of Summerween, making it more visible and accessible.
So we've traced its quirky genesis from Gravity Falls. We've seen the incredibly creative ways people are bringing it to life with DIY parties and those distinctive aesthetics on social media. And we've even observed how retailers are eagerly getting in on the action. But the big question, I guess, remains. How do we know this isn't just a handful of really dedicated fans or just clever marketing from those retailers? What's the real hard data telling us about Summerween's actual reach and maybe its staying power?
Right, and this is where that digital echo really comes into play. And it's a crucial piece of evidence that moves Summerween beyond just anecdotal observation into something quantifiable, something factual. Our sources point directly to insights from Google Trends data.
Ah, the search data.
Exactly. It shows a very clear pattern of recurring spikes in Summerween searches year after year.
Recurring spikes. Okay, that's incredibly telling. So what exactly does that pattern mean for search behavior, and why do we see these specific spikes consistently year after year? What's the timing?
Well, these spikes occur very consistently from late June to mid-July, which, of course, aligns perfectly with the core summer months in the Northern Hemisphere, where it seems most popular right now. This timing really reinforces the whole idea of a Halloween and summer celebration. It shows deliberate intent from users searching during that specific window.
Okay.
What these consistent spikes indicate is a growing public curiosity, a genuine interest, and crucially, an active search for information, ideas, and products related to Summerween. It's not just people vaguely aware of it or stumbling upon a related hashtag. It's people actively seeking out how to participate, what to buy, what movies to watch, what recipes to try, or even just fundamentally what it's all about. They're literally typing things like Summerween party ideas, Halloween and July decorations, spooky summer recipes into their search bars. This active engagement demonstrates a conscious effort to understand and participate in the trend. It's proactive, not reactive.
So it's not just the content creators talking about it or the retailers trying to sell stuff. It's the public itself demonstrating a tangible, measurable interest through their search behavior.
Precisely.
This provides pretty concrete evidence that Summerween is a real recognized phenomenon, doesn't it? Not just some fleeting niche interest confined to a tiny corner of the internet. It has a quantifiable presence in our collective consciousness.
Exactly. And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how search data provides such a clear and pretty objective barometer of emerging cultural interests. When you see consistent, predictable spikes in search terms like Summerween year after year,
Yeah.
that's undeniable proof that there's a collective desire bubbling up for specific seasonal experiences during, well, unexpected times of the year. People are deliberately looking to blend their festive experiences, to maybe extend the joy they get from certain holidays beyond their traditional, sometimes quite narrow confines. It reflects a fundamental shift in how we engage with seasonal traditions, making them less rigid, more adaptable to individual or community desires, regardless of what the calendar month says.
Right.
In a way, you could almost see it as the ultimate democratic vote for a new tradition, where collective interest translates directly into measurable online behavior. The searches prove the interest exists.
That's a powerful insight. It really does make you think about how our collective interests and desires are now so transparent through things like search data. It gives us this real-time pulse on cultural evolution.
Yeah.
So moving beyond the what and the how, let's really try and dig into the why. Why is Summerween resonating so deeply with people?
Yeah.
What is the core appeal that makes it stick, that makes people search for it?
I think at its heart, the primary appeal of Summerween lies in its masterful blending of two emotionally charged seasons. Just think for a moment about the distinct, powerful feelings each of these seasons evokes in many people. Halloween, for many, brings that nostalgic magic of Halloween. You know, the crisp air feel, the vibrant colors of autumn leaves, the excitement of costumes, the joy of trick-or-treating maybe from childhood, the comforting crunch of fallen leaves, and that uniquely playful spookiness.
Yeah, very evocative.
It's often deeply tied to cherished childhood memories, a sense of wonder, enchantment, maybe community spirit. It's a time when the ordinary world feels like it takes on this fantastical, slightly eerie glow.
And then you combine that with the carefree fun of summer. Long, languid days, warm nights, spontaneous adventures, splashing in pools, outdoor gatherings, a general feeling of relaxation, and just a delightful freedom from routine for many. Summer represents, for so many of us, pure, unadulterated joy and boundless energy. Reflecting on this, it really does seem like this combination offers a unique psychological comfort, maybe, or a much-needed escape that traditional, singular seasons might not provide on their own. Are we getting the best of both worlds here, like a kind of seasonal synergy?
You've definitely hit on something crucial there. It absolutely feels like a synthesis, a kind of seasonal alchemy. Our sources indicate that this blend allows people to tap into both that nostalgic, imaginative, and slightly mysterious side associated with Halloween, and the relaxed, social, expansive, vibrant feeling of summer, all at the same time. It offers a fresh, innovative take on familiar comforts. And maybe in a world that can often feel quite heavy or stressful or overly predictable, the ability to actively create joy and escape through a whimsical blend of beloved traditions is incredibly appealing.
Right, taking control.
Exactly. It's like getting a double dose of feel-good hormones, maybe, but with a fun, unexpected, and often spooky twist. It highlights, I think, a deeply human desire to infuse more positive, celebratory, and creative experiences into our lives, regardless of the calendar's strict dictates. It allows for a more continuous flow of festive energy, rather than just waiting for specific preordained dates on the calendar.
That really brings us to a bigger, maybe more profound point about how internet culture is fundamentally reshaping our real-world traditions. Summerween isn't just an isolated incident, is it? It feels like a clear and really compelling example of internet culture reshaping real-world traditions in quite profound ways.
Absolutely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it profoundly highlights how social media platforms and these vibrant online communities are increasingly serving as incredibly fertile incubators for new cultural practices, for new traditions, even for entirely new micro-holidays.
Micro-holidays, I like that term.
Yeah. Traditionally, traditions evolved slowly. They were passed down through generations within families, local communities, or through established institutions like churches or governments. This process was gradual. It was organic, often very localized. Now, an idea, even one as seemingly niche as a fictional plot point from a cartoon, can be born online, amplified exponentially by content creators, visually disseminated across platforms like TikTok and Pinterest, picked up by millions, and then within maybe a decade or so, you have major retailers selling themed decor for it.
It's incredibly fast.
It allows for an unprecedented speed of evolution and dissemination of shared experiences on a truly global scale. It's a powerful example of bottom-up culture creation, driven by collective interest in digital connectivity. And it often bypasses, or maybe even subverts, the traditional gatekeepers of cultural norms and calendars.
So it's not just about a specific holiday, it's about a completely new paradigm for how culture itself is created, shared, and adopted.
I think so, yeah.
And this isn't solely about fun and games, is it? Our sources suggest that Summerween might actually be addressing some more fundamental human needs, tapping into something a bit deeper.
It absolutely does seem to be doing that. Summerween shows how people are looking for joy, escape, and creative expression in all seasons. This transcends just being a quirky holiday trend. It really speaks to a universal human desire to find delight, to alleviate boredom, perhaps, to express identity, and to seek outlets for creativity regardless of what the calendar says we should be feeling or doing. We're not simply waiting for specific dates anymore to celebrate or to engage with things we love. If people want to embrace the whimsical, slightly spooky aesthetic of Halloween in July, they will. They'll find a way.
Yeah.
If they want the carefree, sunny vibes of summer and October, maybe they'll find a way to incorporate that into their lives too. It's about personalizing and extending the joy, taking ownership of how and when we celebrate. And the internet provides both the tools, the platforms, the inspiration, and the global community to actually do just that. It's a manifestation of self-directed happiness, in a way.
That's a powerful insight. It suggests that these emerging trends are maybe less about pure consumerism, even though retailers get involved, and perhaps more about fulfilling deeper psychological and social needs. Needs for connection, for play, for self-expression, and maybe even for a sense of control over our own emotional landscapes in a complex world. It's almost therapeutic in a strange way, offering a break from the rigid schedules and expectations of modern life.
You've encapsulated perfectly there. It is indeed about agency. People are taking ownership of their traditions, actively adapting them to suit their contemporary lives, their emotional needs, their desires for novelty and connection. It's about fitting celebrations into their lives rather than fitting their lives rigidly into fixed historical celebrations.
So what's its current status then, and what are the broader implications for the future of our cultural calendar? Our sources note that Summerween is, quote, "well, not yet a mainstream holiday." It certainly feels like it's gaining significant, undeniable momentum. Where does it stand?
It definitely is gaining momentum, and its growth suggests a much broader and I think fascinating trend towards more personalized, more fluid, and potentially year-round engagement with beloved cultural themes. We seem to be moving beyond just rigid, calendar-bound celebrations where a holiday is a singular, fixed date with fixed expectations.
Right.
People are actively pushing the boundaries of traditional seasonal celebrations. They're creating new micro-holidays, as we call them, or significantly extending existing ones, like Halloween bleeding into summer. It means that the whole concept of seasonal appropriateness is becoming far more flexible. It seems to be driven less by historical precedent now and more by what brings people joy, what allows for creative expression, and what fosters community whenever they happen to desire it. This trend highlights, I think, a human need for continuous celebration and connection, not just on designated days.
And this isn't just about Summerween specifically, is it? It could easily be seen as a blueprint, maybe a case study, for how other new traditions or cultural expressions might emerge and take hold in the future. This really raises an important question, doesn't it? How many of our established, deeply ingrained traditions might eventually be influenced or adapted or maybe even completely transformed by these internet-driven, season-agnostic cultural movements? Could we realistically see, I don't know, Spring Mess celebrating Christmas vibes in April, or Valentine's Day romantic themes in autumn?
Why not?
The possibilities genuinely seem endless when the rules of the calendar become less rigid and more driven by collective desire and online sharing.
It fundamentally challenges our very definition of what constitutes a holiday, doesn't it? Is it a government-designated day off work? Or is it a shared, collective experience that can manifest whenever and wherever a community decides it wants to celebrate something? Summerween certainly suggests the latter is becoming more powerful, that the power to create and celebrate traditions is increasingly shifting away from institutions and towards individuals and online communities. And it's a fascinating redefinition of cultural practice, and it's unfolding right before our eyes in real time.
It's a truly thought-provoking idea, isn't it? How deeply intertwined our online lives are becoming with our real-world traditions. And whether new holidays or celebrations, born purely from internet trends, might indeed become commonplace in the future, it really reshapes our very understanding of festivity and community.
A cultural evolution happening right now.
Indeed. Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive into the weird and wonderful world of Summerween. Thank you for joining us for this fascinating exploration. Next time on Trending Unpacked, we look at the rise of private healthcare on demand and why more people are turning to concierge nurses for in-home care, post-surgery recovery, and peace of mind. We'll see you then.